Hello, it's Jay here with another couple of vocal video study videos where I take a couple of videos that are talking about speech or how to deliver a speech properly and kind of breaking them down for myself, explaining them to the camera, thus hopefully explaining them to myself and getting a little bit deeper into them. It's two fairly short videos, 6 minutes long, from Connor Neal. The first video is Improve Your Speaking, which he's doing in front of an audience of what looks like business people who are trying to work on how to present themselves better when in a meeting, which is not what I'm really interested in, but does seem to be probably where the money is for guys like this. I guess you think about it, people who don't have to run meetings, who aren't continually having to talk in front of people, aren't really going to be that interested in improving their vocal abilities unless they're a maniac like me who has a hobby where I'm trying to work on my speech delivery in front of a camera. And I'm sure also the business community is the place where you have an audience that has money that might be willing to pay you, which I am not. So that's why I'm on YouTube mining it for all the little free dribs and drabs that is offered by these people. So yes, he's doing a video on first. Number one is improving your speaking is the first video, and what his thing is like, look, you are not going to become a better speaker by just watching coming to a presentation and watching me deliver a speech on it any more than you're going to become a great artist by watching an artist paint, or going to a movie you're going to become a great watching a movie you're going to become a great actor, or listening to a great musician perform. That none of that is going to actually increase your skills. You might get some enjoyment out of it, but you're not going to actually improve your skills. What you're going to need to do is practice. And what he asks in this first video, is take 3 minutes. You all have webcams on your computers, on your cell phones. Maybe not at that point of on the cell phones, because I think this is a little bit of an older video. It's like, and just take 3 minutes each day to talk to the camera. And he said this is for like 3 minutes for 10 days, and just do a video where you explain, as you're like explaining to a child, what value makes life living, or do a video on, describing what you do for a living, or what your experience is. Something, just 3 minutes of just talking to the camera each and every day for 10 days. That will actually give you a little bit of improvement. Now, he does say you're going to have to do this a lot more than 3 minutes. You're going to have to do this a lot more than for just 10 days. But that should give you a taste of that process along which you will slowly get better. And it's that, I think he uses the whole thing of like, oh, you need 10,000 hours of practice to become, maybe really good at something, regardless of what it is. Somebody who's a super top professional athlete right now has been practicing for hours and hours every single day since childhood. You don't expect that you're just going to kind of start something and suddenly be instantly good at it. You need to make that. You need to make that practice. He talks about the example of two pottery classes. One pottery class where, okay, we're going to evaluate you at the end by whatever the most finished, beautiful pot that you make. That will be how we grade you. And in the other class, we are going to just judge you on the poundage, how much pottery, how the weight. Basically, you're just going to take all the pieces that you made, doesn't matter about the quality or anything like that. We're just going to put them on a scale, and we're just going to weigh it at the end. And whoever has the highest, the heaviest thing will get the highest grade, and whoever has the lowest will get the lowest grade. And his point is that the people in the weight thing just started doing and played and were silly and stuff like that, and just were working, whereas the class with, it's like, oh, it has to be the most finished and most well considered. These people spent a whole bunch of time thinking about it and getting into the theory, and really didn't get into actually actually touching the pottery until, like, well into the process, and it was probably very tentative, and you're overthinking it the whole time. You're not just actually just sort of doing. And that by the end of the class, the people who just did it by weight, who were just continually doing and playing and not kind of getting into their whole all heads, they were the people that actually, they actually got they made their pots were actually the superior in quality, even though it wasn't about quality. At that, they weren't, that's not where they were bogged down in, like the finished class. So that's the first video, which obviously I was like, hey, thumbs up, this is exactly what I am doing. I am making multiple videos all the time, and they're very unfinished. They are very much by weight, as you can tell by this channel. It's all by weight, and in this channel of trying to make as much kind of stuff as possible, which is why it's my private channel. This is actually a really good, it's a pressure relief for me, and no one has to watch me on this channel, so I can just do whatever I want, and I can just kind of crank out video after video after video. But it's very freeing, and it's also a way of just getting lots and lots of practice in. But for some reason, I also need to publish it. I just can't just delete it off my phone. It's there. It's my gigantic mound of pottery that I'm totally heaving down the scales on, which I really enjoy. So yes, this video was like, oh, okay, that really makes sense to me. Thank you. This is a very validating video. The next video is how to start a speech, which is definitely something I have trouble with. Indeed, when he starts the video about how to start a speech, he says, look, we're at this conference right now, and guaranteed there's somebody, you're going to go to a speech that's yada yada, who's going to be talking about yada yada, and he's going to start the speech of, hi, I am yada yada, and today I will be talking about da 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 da, which is, he says, like, look, that's just a signal of, I don't have to listen to this speech. It's dry, it's unengaging. He's being kind of, you're being kind of redundant. You're turning off the audience. This is the signal to the audience to, let's pick up the cell phone and check on how things are back at the office and stuff like that. Or for a YouTube channel, it's probably the signal for, oh, this is going to be a boring video, click to the next video. Which, the very brief times I've ever looked at on my public channel what my retention of viewers is, it's like people probably listen to me go to my do my little dry recitation at the beginning, and then are off somewhere else almost immediately. The other thing is people stumble, like, oh, is this on? Oh, what's going on? Usually I can edit those ones out, so I'm mostly just dry ass dumb, just not dumb, but dry. I'm standing in front of a class. Hi class, my name is Jay, and I will be talking today about this and this and this, published here, and here is the plot summary, which is just, I'm talking about a thing. It's just totally unengaging, and it's something that I'm definitely struggled with. What he comes up with 3 ways that you could start a speech. The first one is to come up with a question that matters to your audience. So, what's an example of that? A question. It's like, I don't know. People are being murdered on the streets, and what should we do about this? I don't know. That's dumb. That's dumb. Yeah. So there's that. There's a question that matters to the audience. Number 2 is a fact that shocks the audience. So I think his example here, funny, I can remember this one much more because maybe it's more grabby, is there are more people alive today than have been alive, that have been, that have been dead through all history, or something like that. I can't even get the fact right, but some kind of fact that'll, oh, like, really, tell me more, explain more. So those are the first two. They feel a little on the gimmicky side to me. Yeah, they feel a bit on the gimmicky side to me, like the fact that shocks the audience, or a question that matters. I mean, I guess if you had a nonfiction book, you could lead with, "Here's a fact from this book that really shocked me," and hopefully would shock the audience. So you could start with something like that. Oftentimes, I'm talking about fiction books and genre books. Maybe that wouldn't work as well. Number three is probably the big one, and the one that he spends the most time on. And this is, how do you start a story what's the classic way to start a story when you're telling a story to a child? And it is once upon a time. And it's like, oh, it's like, and you'll find whoever you're telling the story to, that kid will lean in. It's like, oh, it's the start of the story, once upon a time. um he says that the adult way to do that is to tell a story of from your own life, and why this subject matter is important to you. It's like, it's stories about people. um so it's personalizing things. If you can personalize things, if you can make it connect it to your life and why it matters to you, that people will identify. The theory is people will identify with you and be able to, it'll grab them, you know. I guess that's the other day. I was I was complaining to Ja about the book that I was reading. It was making me so angry because the villain in it is so dumb, and the really frustrating thing about it is that it's only it's at the end of the book actually agrees with you. So let me tell you about this book. Perhaps that would be a very clunky example. I think I should probably rewatch that a couple of times and really think about it and internalize it, because it's conceptually, I've got that whole thing of like, oh, once upon a time bit. I am struggling with the beginning of my book, of my reviews, that I need to find some way of organic to me way of telling a bit of a story at the beginning, telling something that is an entryway point, and then getting into the review. I think I see, like, the best reviews I've seen, like written reviews, they will have an anecdote at the beginning, whether it's an anecdote from the book or an anecdote from the author's perspective, or something in the world which involves people, something that's engaging, and that could be the engaging factoid, that could be a question, that could be a story. But to really try and find those strategies and develop that kind of habit of strategy in how I start a video, so that people want to stick around. um, and just yeah, so people will want to stick around. Not that I want people to stick around, but I do want people to stick around. I want to. I'm not a natural storyteller. I'm not someone who naturally can pull people in. I have a bit of a diffidence to me, and that is a part of what's happening here for me, working on vocal videos. It's vocal and it's speech, is working on my voice, but also working on the content of what I'm saying and what I'm delivering, and trying to um, develop that as a skill point that will stand me in good stead for things outside of BookTube, of YouTube, of how I present myself in the world. Yeah. And how I hold myself and how I feel about myself. Yeah, that goes in, that's more into the social, my various low level forms of anxiety that I have. I don't have don't think I have what I would call crippling anxiety, but I've got anxiety that affects my life, and working on that. And this is a part of that is a part of that is developing skills to help confidence, and then to develop confidence to help skills. It all blends together into one big mishmash, which is me. All right, I will leave it there. I've been Jay. More videos later.